Hey YouTube, ZeroMagnumX here with another edition of Monday Magic. This time we're featuring Bug Control. I hope everybody likes it. It's a different take from the TCG player list that's been going around. We're going to zoom in. I have a pretty awesome Mega Man mat to record on. Without further ado, we're going to get straight to this deck profile. Alrighty. We should be good then. Sorry, I'm recording this all on my own, so I was a cameraman and now I'm going to be the deck profiler. First up, we have this Sylvan Caryatid. It's pretty good. I mean, it's a 0/3 with hexproof, and it produces mana, so it's a 4-seek on wheels, which is pretty okay. It definitely is great to be able to block like bigger threats off. We have 3 Scavenging Ooze. The other list was running 2. I like 3. I like a little bit early game pushes with it, and then if it just like blocks something smaller than it, if they ever decide to attack you with it, or just keeps that creature forever at bay, it'll just be able to eat it and you'll be able to grow. Lifebane Zombie is another great addition. It gets rid of things like Boros Reckoner and Oozes and Voice of Resurgence if they weren't able to play them, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just an all-around good card, I think, and it lets you gain information so you can adapt your playstyle quickly by looking at their hand and knowing what they have. That's probably the most important reason this card is in this deck, is just being able to play around your opponent's moves. Okay, 4 Reaper of the Wild. This guy is really good. It's an underrated card right now. It's a 4/5 that can gain Death Touch or Hexproof, and every time one of your opponent's guys die, you get to scry. So, I mean, you get to filter your deck out. It's pretty fantastic, I'd have to say. So we have, like I said, 4 of these guys. 2 Desecration Demon. This card is very powerful, and it offers an immediate impact on the board, because every time you move to combat, either when you attack, okay, or when they attack, they can sack a dude. So they might have to sack the weaker guy to tap him so it doesn't block. But it's just a fantastic card overall. I mean, it shot up in value whenever Innistrad rotated, because it's one of the best finishers in the game right now, I believe. I only run 2 of this guy, though, because he can't get clunky. I mean, he can, by himself, clear out their board. But, you know, it's touch and go with this guy. Sometimes, you know, he blocks Phoenix, and then they Mizzy Mortars main phase 2. So you never know. So to that guy, we have 2, okay, sorry about this, Prognostic Sphinx. This guy's fantastic. I don't know why it's not seeing play. I think the only reason is because Aetherling exists. But in a deck like this, he's a turn 5 play. He's a 3/5. He can come down turn 4, maybe on the odd chance turn 3. But you literally, yeah, you have to go, or I'm sorry, no, it's always going to be turn 4. So yeah, this guy comes down turn 4, sometimes turn 5. And it's just phenomenal whenever it does. I mean, it gives itself hexproof, and every time it swings in at your opponent, it doesn't even have to deal damage. You get to scry 3. That's very powerful whenever you're on control and you just want to set up your move after move plays. So 2 that guy, because 3 or 4 might be too clunky. But I'm not opposed to testing more of this guy. I think he's a sleeper card right now, I really do. Alright, 3 Thoughtseize. This is where the removal package comes into play. It's 1 mana removal, basically, for this deck. 2 Abrupt Decay. Deal with those Boros Reckoners, because they're very nasty right now, and very hard to deal with overall. Also gets rid of Detention Sphere. It gets rid of just anything 3 or lower. I mean, it's an all-around good card. I shouldn't have to explain this one. It's already been tested through the meta. 2 Golgari Charm. It's nice because it just weakens your opponent's guys, and sometimes that's what you need. It also removes, you know, enchantments that are problematic for you. And if you do have a board state and for some reason you want to trade in battle or whatever and you're going to win, it has regenerate on it, and the regen mode can just win games on its own. So I mean, overall this is a great card to run, especially if you're on a list like this. So I run 2 of this guy. I run 2 Heroes Downfall. I mean, being able to pop a Planeswalker or a creature is fantastic for 3 mana. I mean, this meets a lot of threats. If they lay down their Jace, sure, they might get some cards, but you can usually try your best to form the worst deal that they can get, and then their Jace is gone. So as a 4 mana sorcery speed mini Fact or Fiction, I'm okay with that because Steam Augury's in the game, so this gives an advantage there. 1 Devour Flesh. This is the odd pieces of the removal of the deck, because normally these are Jay's Architect of Thoughts, but I feel like for my personal Friday Night Magic meta, he's too slow, because there are aggressive lists like green-white, and there are other control mirrors, and that's fine, but I like having solid creature removal. This is a nice answer to Obsidat, so overall decent card. RDW's there, so I mean, I had to think about my meta, and I also offed my Architect of Thoughts for a buddy of mine for his wedding gift, so overall, you know, I'm making changes, but that's the cool thing about this deck is it's flexible enough to do so, because your win cons are Prognostic Sphinx, sometimes Desecration Demon, and Scavenging Goose. Like, they just have won me so many games, it's unreal. Okay, so Devour Flesh. Okay. Sorry, I am reading the card. Faraka's Cure. It's a 1-of, because it's double black, so that's kind of hard on the mana base sometimes. But overall, throws 2 damage at something, and then I believe you gain 2 life, yeah. So, you know, sometimes that's the difference between a win or a loss. There's a lot of 2 toughness creatures right now in aggressive decks, so this just deals with them flat out. Doomblade as a 1-of, because Mono Black Devotion is a thing, and it's an Orzhov devotion list at my locals. Obsidat's a thing, so Doomblade's not great in every game, but it's okay as an inclusion as a 1-of because it is hard removal, and I think personally you're going to find that Ultimate Price is worse and Doomblade is okay. So, I mean, we don't have just another solid removal. I've been thinking about Hero's Downfall, but I like some 2-drop removal in my deck. And it does deal with threats like Boros Reckoner again. It deals with threats like Stormbreath Dragon. So, I mean, it's an okay inclusion to add in. Okay, we have 1 Far and Away. It just was 1-of because it's not the best in this list, but it will, most of the time from what I've played, the away part is what you're going to be using a lot more. But the far part can stop, like, you from taking lethal. So if they're like, oh, here's my bomb, like Stormbreath Dragon, it's a bad unsummon, but it bounces it to their hand and lets you live for a turn to recover. And you already know what they're going to play, which leads me to my next card that I run, Syncopate. Essence Scatter. And this is a card that a lot of people are probably going to be a little bit surprised at that are in this list. And it's the same reason you run Far and Away, is a Mystic Genesis. Mystic Genesis is actually pretty phenomenal, because if you're going to counter something big. Like, if you're on the play and they're like, oh, here's Stormbreath Dragon. Well, now, I believe you have a 5/5 ooze. Yep. So you're just able to get a big ooze. Or if you counter their Elspeth, you have a 6/6 ooze. So it gives you direct attrition plays, and it replaces itself. Right now, that's an okay card, because in some cases the format is slow, and others it's fast. If you stabilize versus something like RDW, you might be getting a 4/4 from countering their Mog Fanatic. Or even if they do run Stormbreath Dragon, you might be getting a nice 5/5 ooze out there that can help battle against them. And because of the 4 ramp cards in here, you're able to just be able to play this like turn 3, turn 4. Or, no, I'm sorry, he's the same deal. Turn 4. So it's an okay card at turn 4. I mean, it's generally there to stop their big finisher. And that's its entire point. And if you're on the play, it's wonderful. Okay, now we have Underworld Connections, because card draw is keen. And this plus Scavenging Ooze is a really nice combo. I've had Ooze, Sphinx, and this up all at the same time. So I was generally able to always kill their cards with spot removal, draw some cards, and gain some life. It was wonderful whenever this deck gets going. You end up into a dominating board state where it's very difficult to lose, unless there's something like Obsidat on their field, and that's why we run Hero's Downfall, Devour Flesh, and the other one, Far and Away. 1 Vraska the Unseen, because Vraska is pretty good right now. I mean, it doesn't deal with Obsidat, that's its downside, but the upside is it deals with everything else. It kills other planeswalkers, it will make it so that if they try to attack her, hey, good luck, your guys die. And that kind of deters her away from it, which is what you want, because you have some beefy creatures in here that are going to be defending you. So she can just take up, lay down 3 assassins, you do whatever board removal you need, and then just win out of nowhere. So she's a very sneaky card in this deck, and it's very good. So she's a 1 of inclusion. Okay, now we're just going to get to the land base. We're going to do this as quick as possible. 4 Watery Grave, 4 Temple of Deceit, 4 Overgrown Tomb, 4 Breeding Pool. I'm sorry, you guys can't see that at all. 4 Breeding Pool, 2 Temple of Mystery, 4 Swamp, 2 Island, and 1 Forest. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Monday Magic, as I don't do a lot of them. And yeah, so far in the Theros meta, I don't really like any of the decks going around, but I think I found a favorite for now. Peace, everybody, and have a good one.